Hello everybody, I'm back again today with Kittens and Keeps. So this is my role-playing channel. I have a couple of things to talk to you about today. I was away for a week, but last night we had our penultimate session for Tsar, so I'm going to talk about that a little bit. I'm also going to talk about a couple of RPGs that I've been checking out recently. I'm also going to shamelessly advertise a really hot off the press new RPG, which I got my very own copy of yesterday. It's signed by the author, and it's very, very close to my heart because this book was co-authored by a dear friend of mine, Kieran Telly. He's been working in the RPG sector for a long time, playtesting, writing stuff, publishing stuff. Most recently he has been working on Ashen Stars, but also on this book, which I want to talk to you about first. It's called Atlantis The Second Age, and it's published by Hypera Publishing, or probably Kepera Publishing if you speak English, and it retails at $49.95. This is the rule book. This is what you need to play. It clocks in at 368 pages, full color, really great artwork in their full color artwork, but also black and white sketches. This is it's kind of based on D&D, but it's got, if you like, a real world twist. So when you look at the map of the world, it is basically the world as we know it today. There are places called, when you just look at the map here, you can see that this is pretty much Europe and Africa. Just a little submerged, if you will. So there is no land bridge between Europe here and then what we would today call China over here. So it is basically set in our world with a slight twist. A little bit about the history of this game. It was first created in the 70s. It was basically a D&D ripoff called Arcanum, which was then revamped in the 90s, and this is now its most recent incarnation. And it's basically a fantasy role-playing game, as you can easily tell by its cover. You can see a multi-headed dragon on it. Those of you who have read Conan the Chimerian, it's set between the golden age of Atlantis and the coming of the Hyperborean age. So basically you will find even the races like the Lemurians, which you might know from the Conan cycle. It's I haven't played it, like I said. I only got this book yesterday, literally less than 24 hours ago, and I just think it is fantastic. It's my kind of game because I do like fantasy games, and it has all of the ingredients that I like. It's got some magic, it's got some deities, it's got plot twists as well. I read some of the stuff earlier today. In this book you find the spells that you need, you find the different races that you can play, you can find the different classes that you can play. You also find a sample bestiary that you could use. This is going to be followed by 2 more books this year, the Gazetteer for Atlantis, but also a bestiary in its own right. And I would just suggest that if you're interested, you go and check this out. You can go to www.atlantisrpg.com. the website and check that one out. I can really recommend it. And yeah, I look forward to playing this at some point. And if you would like to know more, check out their website and enjoy the game. Buy this game. I've also been checking out another type of role-playing game, which is more in the vein of the Call of Cthulhu Delta Green. So for those of you who know Call of Cthulhu, that's usually in the 1920s era, which is when Lovecraft lived and wrote his stories. There are different incarnations of Call of Cthulhu. There is the 1890s Gaslight version by Chaosium, but there's also a modern version called Delta Green, which came out in the 1990s. I don't even know if it's still available. I certainly have not been able to buy a book. I haven't been able to buy the rule book. I've only been able to obtain a PDF version of it, which really sucks because I love books and I love having my RPGs as books rather than printouts of PDFs, which I showed you last time. I showed you a printout of the Hunter the Vigil PDF, and it's just massive. And these are basically Hunter the Vigil SASs. Like, again, it's massive. If you print this off, it's extremely expensive too. So basically, I was looking into mystery type, modern day, not too fantasy like RPGs. So I found, like I said, Hunter the Vigil, which I want to play with my group. And I also came across this, which is called, well, it's based on the Gumshoe system. It's called the Esoterrorists. And I got this, this is the second version of the rules. It basically deals with a group of investigators. Those of you who may have played Trail of Cthulhu or Ashen Stars know the system, the Gumshoe system, which is actually very, very nice. Or you might have played Fear itself, which is based on the same system. And I haven't read this yet, but I've read about it. So this is, if you like, X-Files meets Call of Cthulhu. So I'm really excited about this. I hope to get a good read of this sometime in the near future. So that's what's on my table at the moment. I've also come across two more RPGs. One is called Don't Rest Your Head by Evil Hat Productions. I've not been able to buy it. I've not been able to buy the book. I've only been able to buy a PDF again. I don't know if I would ever play it, but I like the idea, and I have to say that I listened to a really, really excellent rendition of one of the adventures by actual audio role-playing podcasts, really well done. And I also came across a really funny RPG. It's called Slasher Flick, and the idea behind this is that everyone who is part of the story is part of one of those really bad B-movie type slasher flicks. You know, Friday 13th meets Halloween meets Scream meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer kind of thing. And each player gets different types of characters. You have the primary characters that will probably make it. You have the secondary characters that are your template type characters that you would encounter in a slasher flick, like, you know, the jock and his blonde cheerleader girlfriend. They're all called Brittany something. He's there with his bros, you know, that kind of thing. And I'm referencing Brittany and the Bros because I also listened to a really, really, really great episode of the actual role-playing podcast where they played this game. This is how I found out about it, and it's just absolutely hilarious. You should really check out their website. Unfortunately, I can't link to any other non-YouTube websites from this channel, but really go to actual role-play podcasts and check out this episode. It's absolutely hilarious. So the premise is that everybody is in this story, and it can be anything from, people are on a boat trip, or the lost cabin in the woods kind of thing, and then the slasher appears, and then different things happen, and you get points, as far as I understand it, for using genre type behaviors like I'll be right back, the things that you say, and then of course the blonde says I'll be right back, but of course then she won't be back because she will be slashed open by the fiend somewhere in the basement of the hotel that they're staying at. Or don't go alone, or things like that. So I really like the idea. I think it's a hilarious thing that you would want to play with a group of friends for, let's say, Halloween, to have a blast. And so again, I couldn't buy the book. I wasn't able to do the print on demand thing. It seems to be available on something called lulu.com, which is apparently a print on demand website. But I just wasn't able to create a shopping cart. I don't know why. So I downloaded the PDF. I bought it on RPG Drive-Thru, which was, and it was really, a bargain. It was less than €4. But now I have to print it off, which of course I like less because I really like having the books. So that's what I've been up to recently. I don't know if I would ever play the slasher flick. It depends on if I can bribe Kieran and his friends and the group into playing it with me. I don't know, but it's excellent to listen to, and I think it's a fun thing for a group of friends to do. Maybe after a pizza party and some beers. I think that's an excellent game. I've also bought a graphic novel called Midnight Nation. I haven't read it through yet. I'm on, I don't know, it's not, the pages aren't numbered. Apparently this is the omnibus. I have to say I've never bought a graphic novel before. Shock horror. I just think they are not as prevalent in Germany, and when I was growing up, they just didn't exist really as a, it was, you had Walt Disney's Donald Duck books, but they're not really graphic novels. And I bought this because in the rule book for Don't Rest Your Head, this is mentioned as one of the inspirations that the author used in order to create his role-playing game. So I thought the premise sounded interesting, so I bought that. And now this brings me to the finishing part of this podcast. Tsar. Where are we in Tsar? Well, the party has found all 9 statues, so the 10 disciples have been reunited. But like I said, I've completely moved away from the plot of Slumbering Tsar. What they have realized now is, first of all, they're on a different plane. Secondly, everybody in this town of Tsar has been locked in that town for 10,000 years. They can't get out. They also can't die. When they die, they just come back to life after a certain period of time. They're really just devastated. They just want to die. And also, there are not only demons there, but also humans and elves and dwarves. And the party has found out that they're not the first party to have come to Tsar to try and open the gate, destroy Orcus, or whatever the story is. What they have learned is that the gods the gods Tyr, Muir, Hecate, and Thalophus decided to overthrow the order, the celestial order, and in order to do so, they created or released, it's not quite clear, a super strong, divine, or maybe not so divine, but definitely immortal creature. And this creature turned out to be very uncontrollable. So what they did was they realized that the power that they had unleashed they couldn't wield. So they needed an ally. So what they did was they opened a portal to the demon world, where Orcus is one of the demon princes. So basically a parallel universe where demons reside, and they enlisted his help. And they struck a bargain with him and betrayed him, and they also betrayed their own creature, because they tried to subdue the creature they had created by getting Orcus to help them. And Orcus and this creature, whatever it is, we don't know its name, basically then were encased in Tsar, and Tsar was sealed off and turned into a little, well, demon plane of its own. So basically Hecate, Telephus, Tyr have betrayed their ally Orcus, plus their own creature, which is nameless, and the creature realized what had happened and took their immortality with it. So since then they've been trying to free the creature to get their immortality back, and they've been inviting parties under pretenses to go to Tsar and release Orcus and that nameless thing. And nobody has managed to do so far. They've all failed, and now this is the latest group that's trying to do this. So they have now assembled all of the disciples, and the portal to, or the vortex has been opened. And so next week we're going to see the last installment of Tsar, and I don't know how it will end. I've got different endings that we can play depending on what the characters do. But it's going to be quite interesting. I really enjoyed myself last night. I got to eviscerate the elf twice, which was fun. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. But next week should see the end of our exploits of Tsar, and then, as far as I can tell, we will be doing some Ashen Stars. So Carol Porter will return, and that's all from me. Have a good day. And don't forget to buy that book.